Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to 2023. What's up, boys?
Woo!
Welcome back to
Up in
2023.
the Hez house.
Life is a straight line and life is a circle. So, uh, it's been a whirlwind the last few weeks. How's everybody been doing? You guys having a good time the last few, yeah, you guys had fun the New Year's? What you guys do?
Define a good time. I spent my New Year's in Whitehorse. That was fun. It was actually pretty cool. It wasn't as cold as it could have been, but I was on a layover. So, but the problem is that I got laryngitis. So I'm just starting to get better. So,
Hey,
yeah,
tis the season to get sick.
exactly.
Maja, what you do, man?
Same shit, different year.
So what did you do what's the same
So
part?
what do you, I don't know what the same part is. I have no idea what you normally do on New Year's.
Just chilling, straight chilling, man. Straight chilling.
So all right, you were chilling. I was chilling too, man. I got kids. I don't have time to party. I played dominoes. And
Oh, that's not bad.
it was super fun. Yeah.
Did you break any tables though?
No breaking tables.
Slamming down that domino and yeah.
No, man. I played a funny game. I'll tell you guys about it later.
Okay.
But actually, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was sort of something that I like that has been showing up on my radar. So one of the things that I follow is I follow a Saudi Reddit. So it's the Reddit of Saudi Arabia, and just to kind of keep a pulse of like what's going on with like what's going on in Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi Reddit is also interesting because it's like in Arabic and English. Like, so there's Arabic content, like people post things in Arabic, people post it in English. I can understand it both, so I listen to both. And 90% of the posting is like how people want to get married, but there's no good girls. Like how guys want, like, because like I feel like it's mostly guys that use Reddit. I don't know if this is right or wrong. We can sure can be verified. I feel like that's the case. Like, you know how like YouTube has like 90% of the people on YouTube are male. That watch YouTube are male. Or the stat. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that it skews male. Maybe 70%. That makes more sense. And so I assume so with Reddit. And so because it's never like where have all the good men gone? That's not the question that shows up on the stream. It's like it's a lot of like, where are the good girls? Where are the good girls? And it just reminded me of the types of conversations I would have in like high school, where this idea was like it wasn't like sort of overt, but everybody that wanted to get married everybody wanted to get married, and B, everybody wanted to marry somebody that like never spoke to a man, like has never been out and about. And even though they may do other stuff, like the idea that marriage material is like pure, pristine, like, would you bring your wife to this place? Would you bring your wife here? And this type of like sort of I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it, but I just noticed that there's a lot of that stuff on like people still talking about this stuff.
Maybe they should look for the good girls on Instagram because they're all there now, aren't they?
Well, no, good girls not on Instagram, man.
There's always the filters and stuff. I guess so, but I mean, good girl or bad girl, I guess they're all on there now. They're not going to be on Reddit.
Well, no, they're not looking for girls on Reddit. They're complaining about the fact that they can't find girls on Reddit. Like, not on Reddit, but they can't find girls, right? Like no, it's not even girls. Actually, that's the wrong word. They can't find a wife, a suitable wife, a suitable wife. It's not that they can't find girls. They may or may not
have matchmaking things at like services? The mosques and stuff in Saudi.
Yeah. Or your mom. Like, I didn't mean your mom.
Yeah,
but like your mom's a matchmaker.
About my mama. My mom is so not a matchmaker.
But I mean, they have that. I think I was talking to a guy that said like he literally like visited 36 like homes like to marry. God. Like he's like, at that point, it's like a marathon, right? Like you're on a run, like
It's like you have to take a month and a half vacation from work so we can go and do this.
you don't even dress up, right, to go. You just like by the end, you're like, oh man, I'm not even dressing up. I'm not gonna like, I'm just gonna go in, or like, is this one gonna be a um and so I think it's interesting that there's like this real obsession of getting married, but the pool of people that you can actually marry, it's like this idea that that women are accessories, and they're not like, they're accessories and they're not necessarily their own people with their own, like, explorations and discoveries and things like this. It's it's probably tied to a lot of things, but that idea, like, it was also making me reflect on the like Andrew Tate business. So like Andrew Tate is like, I don't know, guys. Do you guys know who Andrew Tate is? I'm gonna start with this. Like, you guys know anything about Andrew Tate?
Give me a quick
No?
rundown, because there's been a lot of things that's happened recently, and Andrew Tate. MJ, and give me some Andrew Tate stuff.
I really don't know him properly because I haven't watched his primary source material. I've only seen him in YouTube shorts and stuff, micro clips, and micro clips can be taken very out of context very quickly. So I do want to add that I've never sat through like one episode of an Andrew Tate show in full. What I do know is what comes in headlines or lots of stories and posts. One, in our case, probably most relevant for us, is he's a recent revert to Islam, apparently. He converted or reverted, whichever word is used these days, like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And there was a big debate between Muslim guys and Muslim girls. Muslim guys were really happy. Muslim girls were like, oh man, like what? We got him. Muslim guys were all like, yo, give him a chance. He said that back in the day, you don't know. And so what he's like, the stuff he's saying is a lot of, I don't know, like men, you can like take life by the balls, and almost even this kind of like alphas get the girl and they bet the girl, and like this kind of like talk of like what 80s men would consider real men, what today's guys might be like, yo, you're like overcompensating and you're clearly like you have a couple complexes and insecurities at work.
But didn't he wasn't there, what was the latest headline from him though?
And so he got arrested for, the initial headline was like financial embezzlement stuff, but then it turned out to be human trafficking cases in Romania or Hungary, one of these type of places.
Wasn't it the other way around? Wasn't it initially human trafficking and then it turned into embezzlement?
Possibly, very possible.
Well,
Waseem, take over. I think you
I'll,
know more about Tate than I do. To be
No,
honest.
I mean,
this.
that was pretty good.
If you want to know like real, like within the past 24 hours, his luxury vehicles in Romania have been seized.
And by the way, why he's famous in the first place, I'm not entirely sure. He was a failed UFC fighter. Literally, like,
yeah,
he was a fighter on a UFC show, reality show. He did not win it. He then joined like another reality show, and then he became a giant social media Big Brother. And there was controversy in Big Brother. He got kicked out in the first week because old videos of him hitting or kicking a woman were released. And he was like, oh no, that was a different me or some shit. But he still kind of continues to have not necessarily violence, but there is a little bit of an aggressive streak within his language when it comes to women. At least in some of the videos I've seen, which are micro clips.
Okay, so I'll just say this, that I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, there's something that was big headline that was said recently related to Andrew Tate, and it's this. When women were accusing him of rape, he said, quote, "I love raping you." Sorry, didn't mean it, but like that's the big headline that I remember now. That was the big trigger about his name and everything. I just want to mention something interesting, because this is something that's very I would say North American inclined, of like the Muslim community in general. So we talk about how he reverted or converted. Different people say different things. But there's an interesting aspect of people like me who pretty much were born and raised in Canada or the United States. When we hear about like a celebrity of some sort, whether it's an athlete or a movie star, whatever it is, and we hear about, oh, they became Muslim, we're like, oh my God, we got one. Like there seems to be like, there's always this like celebratory type of reaction to like, oh, this person is, and like this person became Muslim. And but then at the same time, people like me are like, well, if I was born into it and now they've come into it, maybe I've been rebelling against something that I shouldn't be. Because that's what happens to a lot of people. They rebel.
Do you guys remember the reaction when Michael Jackson moved to Bahrain and there was rumors of like he's become a brother, and it was like party time? If you thought Qatar 2022 was a party, Michael Jackson moving to Bahrain was the jam, yo.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the same thing for you guys who would have lived in more Muslim-based societies than I ever have. So like there's always this prevailing concept of it's like, oh, we got another one, yay! Like.
I definitely have had that debate. Like, yo, am I missing something that I was born with? Because these guys have moved over, but then their over enthusiasm sometimes also puts me off. Where it's like, man, I think that's just the like, you've never had Kool-Aid before. This is the first time you're having that red Kool-Aid,
right? And
it tastes good, and you're like, maybe you're overdoing it even a little bit. Because like I had that red drink for a while now.
No, I know. I think it comes down to like, again, you know, you're growing up somewhere that like in my case, somewhere that's not an Islamic society. And you're like, what is all this stuff? Like you're stuck and you're like, I don't know what do my parents want me to do? I don't know. And then all of a sudden you see some dude who's like some random white guy from like Missouri is like, I embraced Islam. And you're like, wait a second, I need to rethink things all of a sudden. There's a lot of, I mean, convinced that there's so many people that go through this type of thought process and it's every generation has that. Like it's not like my generation is the only one type of thing, you know?
I think that like we just talked about like a lot of like layers. A lot of layers here.
I know.
This is like 4 topics. The first is on like celebrating converts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the first one on celebrating converts?
Yes.
Okay. What?
See, before we get to the conversion part, did we answer the like women and the hypocrisy, or we didn't really get to that part, the wife concept or the wife
No.
Reddit wife thing. We like kind of, I just want to like remind.
All you gotta do is throw in a celebrity's name or somebody famous or someone controversial,
and then everything goes off the rails.
Everybody's got an opinion about something else. And I mean, answer the question. It's like but I think it's tied, right? Because the thing that I think it's tied together. Obviously, the converts, and I think a part of it is like when you grow up Muslim, there's a lot of like things that are like fed into you in terms of like, you know, maybe not every like Muslim household, but in general, like we'll understand this, you know, like brothers, you'll understand, brothers, that when you grow up Muslim, you're taught, like, I think there's a lot of this, like I think the idea of Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb, like the idea that you have like we are the one true religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're so lucky you're part of the one true religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we don't have the problems that everybody else has out there, and that was echoed in a lot of in some of Andrew Tate's comments. I remember the thing that got through to me, like one of his first things that I heard about him was him talking about how like Muslims he was like, yo, if you want to talk about like an admirable religion and admirable people, then you talk Muslims. And the reason
I
why
remember
is
that
like
clip. That was one
yeah,
of the
they
first
don't
clips
bend.
that got me onto
Like,
him.
you know, like they don't
Yeah.
bend on their values. Like whatever they are, they stick with them. And wherever it takes them, wherever it lasts, and that like wherever it goes, as opposed to he was talking like Christians and how like, you know, now they just like gay people in and they get like that was his like his thing. But like
Yeah.
Muslims, there's no gay, no gay. There's not like and
Not possible. It doesn't exist. There's no
yeah,
way. I mean, come on,
yeah.
let's get
So
real.
I think with and
do that
a lot
too.
of the things that you talk about that are like our conversions, like so we get happy when people like when big people convert because
Mhm.
it makes us go uh like it validates our one true religion stance. Like you're like, see, proof. Like, look at the proof. He converted. See, I told you.
Yeah.
And even
Parents,
like,
the
I
parents
mean,
in that. See, look, all this time I've been telling you. Now look at this guy.
yeah, like, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Trying to get that into your thick head. But even like
Yeah.
when you see like Muslim debate, like not Muslim debates, but like when sometimes you'll see this in like an interfaith dialogue. You'll have like a Muslim guy, a Muslim like a scholar, and a Christian like or an atheist, and they'll be sitting there and they'll have a debate, or they'll have a discussion, or they'll have a talk, and you'll note that the Muslim scholar is always like ask this question: what do I gotta do to get you to convert? Like, what do I gotta
Yeah.
do? And then this guy, then the other guy would go like, why do you keep trying to get me to like we're having a discussion, we're having a conversation. Why do you keep pushing this? He's like, man, I can't help it, man. That's what I do. Like
It's ingrained in me. What else am I gonna do?
So like right behind me, there's one convert over here, the like teacher convert, Malcolm X, and his student is over here fighting Superman, Muhammad Ali. And definitely for me, their conversions to the one I am, like to my team, them coming over to my team voluntarily, is absolutely a big point of initial attraction, or
Mm.
like initial, at least I can relate or they can relate. Um, with Malcolm X, he was one of the few Muslim debaters who never did this conversion stuff. He was never that, he was far more interested in the social politics than the religious aspect. And Ali's conversion, I just want to mention, like we talk about Ali and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, these two black dudes have done more for Islam in the contemporary America than any Muslim out there, just by them converting and getting the name out there. Even if it was, in Ali's case, the Nation of Islam, he still created the word Muslim became normalized because of him in at least a certain community.
Yeah, it's true. And the thing is, what was lost? I mean, okay, I don't let me go too far on this diatribe. Bring me back in when you need me to, but especially when a lot of African Americans in the United States, because of the history of slavery, forget about a lot of the Muslim roots of the original slaves that were brought over from Africa. I mean, there's a reason why there's so many Arabic names that became common African American names, like Omar and
Good
Jamal
use.
and Jaleel and all these kind of things. Like
Good use
they
of roots.
yeah, like it's yeah.
Kunta
So
Kinte,
that
he was a
I'll
brother
stop
too.
there. Yeah. So I'll stop there. But like, so I think for a lot of people in the African American community, when they started to see a lot of these prominent African Americans converting to Islam, they started to reopen those doors of that history that was completely lost on purpose. Like it was beaten out of them, literally.
Mm. So how does this tie to like okay, so another one of the things that gets like kind of labeled with Muslims is that like when it comes to women and Muslims and women's and like liberal women and all that business, you know, they don't mix well, right? Like it's oil and water. And with and I guess here, okay, so Andrew Tate, I'm just gonna add on this story that you guys added here, is that he gets really like okay, he tries to get really famous, right? Like and like there's a lot of it's very lucrative for you to get really famous, especially in the way that you do, and well, it's lucrative if you do stuff. So like one of the things he has is like this, like I think it's like an alpha male like course or you could sign up for that probably, you know, makes bank to like teach you how to be a man, to so you can go and, you know what, probably get women. like you know, like it's a lot of the idea of like of manhood is like how you relate and how you treat and how you think about women. And with and carefully though, with like Muslim, it's not necessarily like, you know, grab them and like lock them away or stuff, but like women are like, you know, delicate flowers that need to be protected, right? They're you know, you can't trust them to their own devices, right? Like that, hence they need to be protected, right? And like that, there's a double thing there.
They are the weaker sex in every sense of the term. Like they're just weaker, right? Mentally, physically speaking, everything. The attitude is that this is the weaker sex, period.
See, like, if I took that clip and just shared that shit that you just said right there, everyone will think that that's what you said. That's who you are, and like that's not what.
And I said it purposely like that, so to just for the viewers to see that, like literally that clip. Thank you. That clip could be taken so out of context, but like the Muslim view is very like kind of weird.
We have to protect our women from the evils of Western society. I wish people can see my eye roll, but the problem is, so then yes, you can take a clip like that out of context, but when you start to discover more about Andrew Tate, you know that, well, maybe it's just his persona that he has for his YouTube show and everything like that, but it's very consistent with the rest of the things that he believes in that are in essence very contradictory to like Islamic teachings for the most part, and it's not necessarily something you'd want to have. Like if you're a proud Muslim and you are sincere in your faith, et cetera, that's not someone you want related to what you're believing and following.
Like we also forget, the Prophet's first wife, Prophet Muhammad, was an independent businesswoman who was older than him, who actually financially she was his employer. So like our initial sort of the mother figure within like the Muhammad branch, direct Muhammad, forget like the past, women and females connected, was a strong, independent businesswoman, literally speaking, who took care of him, not the other way around initially. And even in when he got the revelations and he was like shivering and like close to death or whatever, like pneumonia style, like he was really shivering and emotionally out of whack. This is the first time like a supernatural being has ever spoken to him. And, she was the one who comforted him. The other way around, she comforted him. He needed her on a human level.
I mean, don't hate me for saying it, but she was his sugar mama. I mean, in a sense. I'm not saying that in a negative context.
It's not hate that you have to worry about. Like, it's not hate that you got to worry about when you say things like that. It isn't hate. It's not.
I wasn't saying it. I wasn't saying it to you guys either.
Hustle. We're all trying to find that hustle.
That's what he said, man. You guys look him up.
Yeah, look up my address. I don't know where I'm going to be next week, so you have to find me.
Well, so the contradictory, like that, sort of the whole idea, I think, is that people kind of can pull whatever they want, whatever their sort of ideology is, and then use the religion as source material, like use the books or the people to kind of justify whatever it is that you already had sort of either instilled in you or built into your head. And so like a woman, a woman that talks to guys on the phone, she's unmarriageable, right? She's not pure.
Right.
She's not clean. She talks to other guys on the phone. What kind of woman would be talking to guys on the phone to get to know them? And to some guys, and in a sort of real tradition, and like I think more than you can understand, that's like yo, totally. Like, of course, like how would you Like, how could you marry a girl like that? Like, I can go to a bar in a club in Romania and like get messed up and like end up with like, you know, be with like women and do all that stuff. But then when, you know, I could never bring my wife to this place. I can go to this place, but I couldn't bring like my pure, like, you know, flower
Well,
of a
it's not only
wife.
that, you're not going to be looking for your wife there either.
Yeah, because I like that's not where women are. No, it's not even looking like I can go because, you know, men go do these things, but women, they don't like or they shouldn't, or only a particular kind of woman does these types of things, you know, like, and not the pure ones that I would be married to as a like a good Muslim man. And so there's a lot of like, I think, washing of your like your, not maybe your sins, but like it's like it's like it's like a house of cards. It's like building these funny houses that don't actually have any like this. It's all built on like on
There's no strong foundation.
yeah, it's built on like on these ideas that
It's built on a
like aren't,
floodplain.
they're not built on like real people, like actual real people with their real like situations. And I just,
Right.
it surprises me at how like deep it goes. And this is probably why he's so like I mean, I imagine that he's pretty popular because of some of the things that he says that you know, maybe clickbaity. The things that he said that were clickbaity. You know, in order to kind of grasp, or like, but what some people would say, speaking truth. You know, like some people would say, speaking truth. And then ultimately, like, and I actually think the case that's going on now, like you know, I'm one of the pieces that happened right before, like, I mean, you guys know about the Twitter. So he takes a picture. So he trolls Greta Thunberg, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he trolls Greta Thunberg and he sends a tweet, say like, I got my like 16 Maseratis or whatever, and let me know if you want to know about that carbon footprint. And then Greta writes back in really funny, like oh, got some great small dick energy, baby.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really funny. But also like, dude, Tate, this girl's like fucking like 8. What are you doing, man? Like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you? What is this? Like Akbar Agal, like grow up, man. Grow the fuck up. What the, like, you literally are talking about alpha male bullshit and you're acting like a fucking child. Like you you clown. You clown. And so then he gets like, that's like the next day he gets like arrested, or that night. And then they said this is not true. So they said it was the pizza box in the back. Because she was like, maybe you should have recycled your pizza boxes because that's how they found you. And like, bullshit, like they knew where he was already, right? Like it wasn't the pizza boxes that gave it away. It just made the rest of the world feel real giddy about a person that was like, let's say, so you got two sides in the world. The people that are like fucks with him and love what he says, and then the people that are like either quietly or openly, and then the people that are like fuck this guy. And they both give him shade because they both make up the thing that is his celebrity. Like they like, even if you don't like me, perfect. Like the more outlandish I could be, the more I'm gonna get haters. The more haters I get, the more my celebrity power goes up.
So the thing is,
right? Like,
so like circling back to the original comment that you're talking about, Saudi Reddit and guys on there talking about where are the good women to marry type of thing. I think, and I don't want to make a blanket statement, but I think I would say a lot of the guys in those chat threads would be influenced by someone like Andrew Tate, who have those type of misogynistic ideals or perspectives of what a ideal woman should be and what they're looking for. And it's, for me, it's dangerous because like it's very unrealistic, and it's not it's very disrespectful to an entire gender of people, of humans, that type of mindset. But so it's problematic because like he has a platform.
Isn't it disrespectful to God himself, itself, let's say, to God itself, in the sense that how can you respect the creator if you don't respect his creations or their creations?
Right.
But
It's
they
that
wouldn't say they're
simple.
not respecting. I don't think they wouldn't say that they're not respecting.
They would say they're being ultra respectful, and you're the
Yeah.
one who's like
Who's being,
modernizing, westernizing,
you're the one who's
completely decayed society.
sexualizing. You're the one who's sexualizing. You're the one like why is respect
Degrading.
equal
Right.
nudity, right? Like, or like, you know, cleavage, right? Like they will say that, right? So it's not a respect. I don't think it's a respect argument, right? Like I don't think it's a respect thing. I think it's a worldview thing, right? Like it's just how you see the world. And like, you know, I mean, have you ever changed your worldview?
Yeah, but what I'm talking
And
about when it comes like the respect part for me comes into like related to that type of my thought process would be as well that there would be this concept of like gender roles. So like a lot of these people would be like, I don't want my wife to have a job. She should stay at home, which for me is disrespectful because she should have the right to decide for herself. Do I want to stay home and raise kids or not? Or do I want to go and get a job and have a career? Why don't you stay home instead? If I'm making more money, you stay home instead and raise the kids.
But that's for you. That's the thing. You have
yeah, that's your
interpreted
worldview.
that part is respectful, but they are looking at it from this like almost, you know, Arthur and Camelot and the Gentleman era. Like they're looking at it from this weird English, almost English British perspective of like you take your jacket off, even if it's 20:30 and you're taking an Uber, you take your jacket off to let her walk on it for water or whatever.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and so there is a respect thing. I don't disagree, but it's maybe not as like what we're saying is also there, that there's a worldview, and that worldview is shaped by culture, the patriarchy, the religion, the patriarchy of the religion, the people around you, what you have seen, what you think the world works like. So when you watch American Pie sitting in Riyadh, this is how some people will think, this is how like everyone is. And it's okay to webcam a girl without her consent. This is normal behavior.
Or you can watch MILF Manor, which aired last night on TLC. Cringeworthy. Just one episode and that's it. No more.
And so I'm like, how that worldview gets shaped in by all these different factors. And then you have within that the human psyche and your own experience specifically related to women and how they have treated you and how you've reacted to how they've treated you as well.
Well, that
The glass onion, guys.
Yes. That's because that's
now
where
we're going to the unsubs. What's going on here?
Well, yeah, man, you don't like because like you got no game, and like and I think that's the like. I mean, even I was thinking about this, like the word game, right? Like it's like you have game. Why? Because it's a game. It's a dance. It's a like you know, courtship is it's called the court where they sat and they danced, right? Like it's called courtship where they dance and they go, hey, kid, you want to dance? Do you want to dance? And then you show the moves and you show the move like
it's like the birds. It's like the birds when they show their feathers and stuff and they're dancing around on the tree branch.
Game is what Hitch teaches you. Tate teaches you the hunt. There's a big, like, there's almost, I want to say, like a difference. Yeah. It's like the hunt, prey and predator, hunt and kill kind of thing versus Hitch's, like the game is like old school 90s. Still, there's a little respect, you know, the older heads. The new kids, though, it's like alpha male, we're going for the hunt, you know?
We're going to get him. Let's go get him. Let's get him good. Like, what? Which is not necessarily, I mean, like, and call me old-fashioned. I always like to say that, but I don't know what I mean when I say that. I say, like, when you're trying to when you're trying to court a woman, this is like, you know how that thing, like, nice guys finish last? Like, there is that idea, well, like, I mean, I might be wrong with this approach, but I think that you gotta, like, there is an assertiveness that is required, like where you kind of need to be vulnerable, where you kind of need to be risky, where you kind of need to be like come out
there.
You got to come out like okay, let's say like you got to lean in and kiss the girl, right? Like you can wait forever. Like it'd be great if she kissed you, right? Like I'm talking metaphorically, my brothers, but like you gotta lean in and kiss the girl, or like nothing's gonna happen, or you get this is what they call it, friend zoned, right? Like even that word, like it's so much fucking work with that shit. But it's because there's that lack of assertiveness. It's like, oh, I'm being so nice. And do you guys ever watch in the Indian matchmaking? Do you ever watch that show? Okay.
Yeah,
so
I
there
saw
was
it briefly. Yeah.
one character, like one of the girls, like real cute and everything, very lovely, like they're all lovely, and then one of the guys, real nice, real sweet, respectful, the kind of guy that'll take his jacket off and put it down so she can walk across the puddle, and she would swoon over that shit, like, oh, he's so cute, and they talk very nice and whatever. And then he was like, okay, I'm gonna give her some space, and like I'm not gonna like, and him in his head, keep giving her the space, and like the thing was being respectful to her. And then while he was giving her that space, she hooks up with somebody else who is extremely assertive and is on the hunt and is like hunts her, and she gets hunted, and she likes that she was hunted, and she's like, oh man, this guy's totally taken over me. And then that hurts the nice guy who's like, I thought I was we were right on point. I thought I was being right on point. And I was screaming. I was like, dude, you gotta,
you have
like,
to put in more work. You gotta,
there's
put
a
in more
balance.
work
You gotta get her. You gotta go. You gotta do, like, you can't just be like, I'm being respectful and nice. And because I understand, because I feel like I was like that. I get that there's this thing that you're like, I don't want to, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I don't want to go in too far. I don't want to make her feel like disrespected or like this, especially since this is so pure and this is like lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And so he doesn't go for it. And then somebody else comes, and then that really hurts this guy, because he's like, oh man, I could have been like, that could have been me. Like that could have been me. Like, and
well,
like,
we've had many of these. I mean, I know I've had many of these conversations with friends of mine that are girlfriends of mine, whatever. And there's always this common concept where it's like, yeah, there has to be some kind of assertiveness from the guy side, because it's from what I've been told by a lot of women, it's like, it makes me feel wanted. It's adventurous. It keeps my interest.
Yeah, I can
going.
respect that. I can respect that. Like, like in that,
Yeah.
like, okay, I can respect the guy that like, reaches out to get what he wants and to do that stuff. And generally, this is why it's so confusing, I think, for like young men, is because they're like, wait a minute. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Like, am I supposed to be going out and hunting? Or am I supposed to be like, like dancing around, like dancing around you? Like, or should I be coming at you? And they don't know, like, I mean, I could, yeah, sure. That's confusing. Like, okay.
Well, because things have changed now. Things have changed because a lot of, I mean, there's new generation of like girls that are, let's say they're going into their 20s and whatever, and they have different concepts now where it's just like, back off, dude, leave me alone. So now you're really confused. You're like, okay, I don't, assertive or not, I don't know how to do this anymore. But I mean, that type of change always happens with different generations and whatever it is. But I feel like now, especially with social media, that this discussion over ownership for a woman of herself and what she's going to do with her life and all that kind of stuff is much more prevalent than it would have been before. Like when we're in university, social media was not a thing yet. So that discussion really wasn't all over the place, but now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, but even in that, like, I'm careful. Like, I'm careful also because, like, for some women, the thing that they want could be like kids, right? Like, I want a family. Like, I want a family. Like I want a family. And so to have a family as a woman, well, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, kind of sit here and preserve my like flowerness. Like, what is she supposed to do? Like, there's a lot of like, okay, dude, like, you can have a career, you can have whatever you want, like, you can do all these things. Okay, but I want a family. Well, why are you so backwards? Like why why are you living in the past, girl? You can have it all. And then they're like, yeah, but I don't have like like I don't want that. Like I don't. And so there's like these pressures like that are working, I think, on both men and women, and like young men and women, which makes it like probably the most confusing I think like time of all, because like what do I do if I don't sit, if it doesn't sit right with me, sort of what was fed, as soon as I start questioning what's being fed to me in terms of like worldviews that I'm supposed to swallow, regardless if you're on the East, if you're a liberal, if you're on the West and you're conservative, or if you're on the West and you're liberal, like wherever the fuck you are. As soon as you start questioning the worldview that sort of has been handed to you about like what life should be, and what
Okay,
your life should be.
I got a question. Waseem. So the Reddit thing, Saudi. Okay, so my you can confirm my assumption if you like, if you have more knowledge on this than I would. But are we talking about now in Saudi society, for example, where because things are opening up more for women in general in Saudi, that this perceived notion that there's where are the good girls, they're quote unquote allowed to do more things than they weren't before. So a lot of these dudes that are asking these questions are looking back on a previous generation where they would have a larger pool available to them, whereas now they wouldn't, because now there's more women in the workforce. Women are traveling more on their own. Their families are sending them out more, type of thing, for schooling, or they're like, I'm going to work in London. Bye. Like, you know, like is there a difference in terms of what's available to women in Saudi society than previous generations where maybe this discussion wouldn't be as prevalent?
Here's what I'm going to do. First thing I want to say, when I'm talking about Saudi in this context right here, I'm not really just talking about Saudi. Like this is an expanded conversation that probably covers like, you know, like a lot of the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Like this is Pakistan, this is Saudi, this is probably Egypt too. This is probably like this is a common sort of thread throughout I would say the Muslim world, right? On this. So it's not, this is like, I'm just using this as an example, as a piece to draw an analogy. And I would ask you, Majid, as an extension of that. In fact, the same question that Rashed just asked, because I want to hear your answer.
Can you repeat the question, please?
So would you say that in this generation now, or maybe in the past couple of generations, let's just say, whereby women in the Islamic world in general, in certain countries, have more opportunities for work and studying and all that kind of stuff than they would have in previous generations, which then brings up this question of a lot of these guys saying, where are the good women, when they perceive that maybe women doing things that wasn't available to them before, they may see that their pool is less than it would have been in the past because they may not want someone who's working, let's just say.
Yeah, I see why you punted, Waseem.
But Pakistan's a weird situation too, because Pakistan's always had women that are like have been prevalent in society for a long time.
We had a female prime minister
well
before the West ever even considered a black president, black male president. And even Bangladesh,
she had equal treatment with an attempted assassination attempt a couple of times. Whatever, but you know, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, it's a good question. It's an interesting one actually, and I'm sure there's definitely some truth to it that, you know, the girl you might have seen at like a cousin's wedding, you might now be seeing at like a private beach party, and she's doing something that you didn't. It doesn't fit the profile, and so suddenly she's not necessarily on the available for marriage list, in your opinion, in your high pedestal, looking down at the world opinion of everybody and judging them before thinking about their situation. I want to mention, just backtrack a little bit. This is the first time I've met girls en masse or women en masse who are like, yeah, I just want to be the husband, and I just want to have kids. Like, growing up, where like jumping around from the places I jumped around, even in Doha, the women who were there were very career focused. Literally, they were in Doha for finance or insurance or gas or whatever, and they were there for a job, 2, 3, 4 years, and then they're going to move on to their masters or whatever. So this is the first time I've seen that, and for me, just as somebody who's not necessarily used to that, and my mom is that, by the way, but I'm not used to that. It's a little bit jarring because it's just like, okay, what happens like the day after? Like in Lord of the Rings, after Frodo throws the ring, like, okay, now what? After like a lifetime adventure, what do you do then?
Right.
And they showed it in the movie, which a lot of people didn't like the extra half an hour, which I liked it, but whatever. In terms of the pool, yeah, well, that's the thing. What I think that's what Waseem is trying to get at is that at some point, you guys, with all your toxic male and all constantly thinking, like, why don't you stop thinking about them or start thinking like them instead of judging them? Like, be curious, not judgmental. Like, if you guys don't change, this pool argument of yours is just gonna get worse and worse, like your hoodie. Like, it's not like, until you accept that these, like, why the hypocrisy, just the foundational hypocrisy of, I can go to Europe on vacation, but she should be staying at her in-laws while I'm gone for the 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I can do what I want, and you are not allowed to ask me. But I can ask you and your in-laws and the maids, where did she go every single day for the last 2 weeks? Give me an hour by hour. Until you compromise on this weird patriarchal, toxic male alpha fuck up like thing, you're not gonna, like, it's not, I don't know, like, they're people too. How difficult is this? So I don't know if I answered your question, but I do think it's valid. But like, the guys need to change mentally far more than the girls do, in my opinion. Like, they've been suppressed for far too
right.
long.
So first of all, leave my hoodie out of this. Liverpool Football Club is the most successful English club in history. But then, in all seriousness, I feel a part of the discussion is that I think that there might be an element in this current generation that's asking these questions about where's the marriageable women. I feel like there's a part of it where they might feel like their generation has missed the boat, where they had more opportunities. Like, I'm not saying that they did or didn't. I'm just saying in their perspective that they may have preferred to live in a society where women aren't as independent as they are right now. Let's just say. So
there's also,
I think they might have a bit of a personal crisis going on as well, where they're like, well, I want to get married, but where am I going to find this person to marry?
Well, there is also, within that personal crisis, there is a giant culture clash where, again, they're being, especially with Gen Zs who have grown up on their cell phones and have seen the world media. So like, they're savvy with the slang. Well, we were like 10 years, our slang was 10-year lag between like the East Coast and Dubai. There was a 10-year lag. So like, sick became cool in like 2015. That doesn't exist today. The moment someone cool tweets out snizzy or whatever the new word of yeet, whatever the new word of the day is, everybody here locally understands that word or starts using it even if they don't. So there's a giant culture clash between, they want to be what they see on their screens, but there's also a home environment that doesn't necessarily understand or support that, and is sort of pulling them back to, like, come back to the culture. This is not us.
Yeah.
This is not how we do. So just within that personal environment, within your own personal environment, there's like two different things pulling at you in different ways. Does that make sense?
See, that's the thing though, because you mentioned that, because then I always talk about how people like me has been stuck between two different worlds all this entire time living in Canada. And and it was so normal for me to meet other people who, you know, Muslim background, but then mine's even more different because I went to Catholic school, but still like being torn between the two, right? And it seems like now that's influencing the actual Islamic world, where it didn't really influence it as much as before because of social media. Now, there's something that I just want to go to the slang thing you talk. It's not necessarily related. It's related to like a generational clash. I'm just going to give you a story that makes me seem really old. Okay. So I was on a break at work recently, and a couple of people that were sitting, they're on reserve and they're just about finishing their time period so they can go home now, whatever it is. But I'm on like a 3-hour break at the airport having lunch and just hanging out with these people. And at one point, one of the girls, she says something like, I'm in no rush to go home. I'm done now. It's okay. She's offering one of the guys a ride home because they live close to each other. And she's just sitting there. She's like, I'm cool. I'm just vibing. And the other dude's like, yeah, I'm just vibing too. And I'm like, what does vibing mean? I'm like, is that my generation's equivalent of just chilling? So I'm like, I felt at that moment like me trying to explain to my parents how to use a computer, and someone explaining to me what the new slang is. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I just needed to bring that up.
Vibin is the new chillin'. Waseem,
Okay.
do you have anything to answer to Rashid's very what a
Pointed question.
I don't think
still recovering.
I don't think it's changed. I don't think it's like, I think the idea has always kind of remained the same. And in the sense that, like, I mean, like I on purpose said like a girl that calls everybody or like talks to guys, right? Because like, yes, a girl could like have a job. Like now, yes, they can, like more women have jobs, right? Like, or have like, are working. And yes, it's overall more accepted for that to happen, right? They're like, yeah, sure. Okay. Like, sure. And I don't think it necessarily works. Wait a minute. I don't think it necessarily works against a woman necessarily, that she's working, that she now can't find a husband because she's working, like that, or sort of the pool changes. But one thing that I had heard about sort of this is that is like sort of this this thing is that like men marry like a woman that's either on the same like status with you or below, and like was referring to like economics. So like they're either going to have the same amount of money as you, like her family, yada yada, your family, da 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 da. You're either going to be on the same page or she's going to be under, but she's not going to be above. And women have a pool of like, no, above, like I will marry up, but I'm not, but there's no way I'm marrying down, right? Like I'm not marrying someone that has less money than I do, right? Like that is less on the status than me. And because women can choose up, but men choose, like, not they choose down. Like, please, what I'm saying is, I think it was quite clear. Like
Men,
you know,
I think what you're trying to say is that the basis of the bar is set by the man's situation.
Yeah, like women marry up,
financially,
men marry down. Like men don't marry up. Like a man doesn't marry a woman that's like super more accomplished than him, because that woman's not fucking interested in you because you are below her. Like, because like not because like, oh, I won't, because she's like, no, because she doesn't want to look at your ass because you're so like, you're useless. What do you bring to her? Nothing. Like, and even though I'm talking about economics, like in this sense, it's there still is like that social status thing. So I think like with more women working, like will a woman, like a working woman, marry an unemployed man that doesn't have any money? No. Will a working man marry an unemployed woman that doesn't have any money? Hell yeah, all the time, right? Like, so it there's the pools are different in that sense, I think, like, right, in that sense. And so, you know, you do have like a different game. Like, so if a man wants to like aim, using the hunting analogy, he's not going to aim at like, if he's deluded enough to keep aiming at the, like, let's call them the elephants in the room, the big things that he can't like get, like he can't get. Okay, if he aims at those and he keeps losing, and he goes, what? Oh, everyone's so shallow. Everybody's like shit. And then it turns inside, and then he blames them for like him, like not bringing enough to the table, let's say, like for the, like, he didn't bring the right tool to take down the elephant. He doesn't have access to the right tool. He'll never have the fucking tool to take down the elephant. Then maybe he should start aiming at the mice. I'm making a joke. But I'm trying to. I'm Andrew-tating this.
Apparently, yes.
They're gonna fucking kick my ass. So that's how I see. So even though the pool hasn't changed, but I think that because of that also, and because of, maybe even now, you know how many job postings I see in like Saudi, as an example, where it like leads with female only, like where like one of the, like, that's yes, yes, speak, like, yes.
That was a giant culture clash for me, that like there's legit like there's like gendered roles, and I get it for some things, but there's like general job applications that are just like, no, we need to increase our ratio. So
we
like
want the women,
all the
like, even if it's not the ratio,
all the
like I will
qualified
only
men,
work with women. I only want women, and it's not necessarily only men doing that. It's not necessarily, like, it could be a woman entrepreneur or a woman business owner or woman stuff, and she only wants to work with women because the men can't work with her, or she thinks that the men can't work with her, and so she won't even. And there's just like, or customer support, all these like, there are a lot of like any people oriented jobs.
HR.
It all says
within
women.
that, like, this sort of goes to your Rashed point. Like, companies are trying to respect women by giving them more jobs, but at the same time, there's a disrespect because you're almost pigeonholing them into these 5 job roles
positions.
that you can do.
That you think that a woman,
You're not going to see
suitable.
a finance head. Yeah, the head of finance is never going to be a woman.
No,
like the bookkeeper is
not
never
in the
a woman.
Gulf.
No.
And so that I think that also has an effect on the pool, like it has an effect on who men can get, like if a man wants to go get them, but then plus, like, just the I think the unrealistic expectations of men of young men when it comes to young women and their like life experience. Right, like they literally want to go.
I'll give you an
any life
example.
experience whatsoever.
I can give you a good example. So I remember a common friend of ours from the past that I won't mention names, but when we were talking years ago about like marriage and do you want to get married, and like, the question always ends up happening because you always have your parents. Like right now, when I go to Toronto later this month, I'm gonna have like half the family on my ass about when am I getting married, because I'm going for my brother's wedding, and I'm gonna have to be respectful, but also walk away from the conversation as quickly as I can. But we're talking to like this old friend of ours, whatever, common friend that we had, and we're talking about, what kind of woman in the end would you want to marry and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm not going to marry someone who's mutahajjab. I don't want someone who wears a hijab. I'm like, why? And he says, because there are certain things that I want to do with my wife that if she's wearing a hijab, I can't do it. Like what? And he said, going to the beach, for example. Like, I don't want to go to the beach and my wife is like wearing the beach hijab guard type of thing. He's like, no, like it. And if at some point she decides to, let's just say I marry her, and at some point later in the marriage, she decides to do it on her own, fine. Okay. But he's like, he's not looking for someone already wearing a hijab, let's just say. So that's the other side of the discussion, where they're the guys that are open their options more, I guess you can say, in terms of what they're looking for, and their perspective is not as narrow as the pool is more shallow than what it used to be, type of thing.
I'd like to believe that, but that's where the girlfriend kicks in and the wife is different checklist. Like that's the girlfriend checklist, and like Waseem, like explain like.
Well, no, I think that does the same thing, right? Like, because like when you're like, I think there's a bit of I think it's overdone. Like what you wear is like, like I can respect someone that takes hard decisions, that like for example, the hijab is a good example, right? The hijab is like, it's not in it of itself. It's not this or that. It's not like a sign of anything, right? It's a like it's very contextual, like the actual like hijab, right? Depends on where you are and what you're doing and who you're with and like what you want it to mean. And you could, I mean, like I don't even like I wouldn't judge a woman that wears it one day, doesn't wear it the next, wears the day after, doesn't wear it the next day. Like you know, I wear it on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and on Tuesdays and Wednesdays I don't wear hijab. Like I'll be like, okay, cool, like. Sure. I have no, like, I feel like I've lost that, like that feeling of being like, no, you got to stick with it or you got to break it. You can't be playing. And that's a very common, like, I feel like maybe let's say Muslim world.
It's one or the other.
Like, no,
for a lot of people, it's one or the
like
other.
you got to take this shit seriously and you got to be this.
Yeah.
And I go, and I'm of the cloth where I'm like, I mean, that doesn't mean she's not taking this shit seriously. Like that means you think she's not taking this shit seriously. Like, what the fuck do you know? Like you don't got to do shit. Like, and so when it comes to like, you know, putting yourself in positions to express your character. So, you know, like getting your ass up and going to the gym for like 3 hours every morning so that you can keep your body up in shape and feel good, or going and like learning something new every day and sitting and like hitting books and studying for the sake of studying. Like, you know, you can do that, right? Like you can do that to take care of your own shit, to express your own discipline, because like, you know, hijab is also like, you know, it's discipline. Like, it's like, you got to put it on, you got to like take it off, you got to put it on, you got to wear it in front of people, you got to not wear it in front. Like there is a bunch of like rules that you set for yourself with it. And I think in order for you to get something out of it that you see, so you go, no, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to put between bunny ears, a suffer with this on, either like whether it be like body and workout, whether it be how the world sees me. Like I'm going to dress in a way that might be uncomfortable for me in a lot of areas, but so that it makes me feel comfortable. Like, I think it's a very complex thing, and there are lots of complex reasons for it. And so when you're trying to find a woman to marry, or you're trying to think about what kind of woman you marry, and you find yourself thinking about, what am I going to do? Like you're trying to get an actual individual to fill a bunch of boxes for you. And ultimately, I think when it comes to like relationships, and like a real, like a relationship is going to last, it's not, those boxes don't mean shit over 50, 60, 70 years, you know, 80 years. If that's like, you know, if that, you know, like God willing, you have that life, and you're able to foster that type a relationship where you sleep in the same fucking bed with the person for 80 years, and you're close, and you know, and you're up through thick and thin, and you stand with each other, and you know, you don't lie to each other, and you're honest to each other, and you grow together. That type of shit, like that's what you should be, I think, preparing yourself for, young man. Like that, like then sitting here telling me, like, well, but how am I going to go to a party with her if she's not wearing her hijab, or she's wearing her hijab?
Yeah.
What are people going to think about her and me, and like all that shit? I go, man, like, dude, like, you know how hard, like, you know how hard it is to all, like, in this day and age, to like have a relationship like 50, 60, 70 years. Like, if that's the goal, that's what you're trying to get at. Like, you know, that shit ain't easy, right? Like, that shit takes you being uncomfortable a lot, like, in order to, like, you know, make it work.
Yeah. I'm also of the opinion, at some point you can have your own beds. When you slept in the same bed beside each other long enough, you know what, get your own bed. Just go sleep in your own bedroom. I just want to be comfortable while I sleep. Go away, leave me alone.
I don't honestly don't do that shit either. Like, sure, why not, man? Like, like, well, as long as we're not trying to escape each other, and then you like have like these two worlds.
It's not
inside
about that.
Like,
it's about at some
like,
point.
No, I
just
want to have.
I just want to be comfortable when I'm sleeping by myself. Just thank you. It's not about escaping each other.
And people are different. Some people like to cuddle, and sometimes. And some people don't like to cuddle sometimes.
And you can do that every so often.
But how are you ever going to find that shit out if you literally are looking for a woman that has no life experience? Like,
no,
like, you're
that's
literally
what I'm
looking for
saying.
someone that has never
spoken
spoken on the fucking phone.
Facetiously, I'm just saying that like during the course of a relationship, after so many years, you may get to a point where you say, you know what, babe, can we have our own beds? You know?
Yeah. Well,
And
to all the
also
young
just before, because we're obviously probably at the point of closing things up, that whole hijab debate is like, that's like a 10-part miniseries. Like it's not,
well,
we barely scratched the dust on the surface of that topic, but it's a big one.
Any debate regarding the hijab for us, Shabab, will have to involve a French person. I just want to throw that out.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the ones with the strongest opinion about the matter.
Yeah.
They can start first, and whatever you conclude, we will do what we can. Good luck, young men. Good luck, gentlemen. Good luck, young ladies. Good luck.
Good luck, women dealing with these young men more than anybody.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck,
I'm
women
sure
dealing
there's
with
a whole
these,
shit ton of eye rolling.
hate infested. Yeah.
There's a whole shit ton of eye rolling.
Exactly.
Good luck. And know thyself. Know thyself. Peace in the Middle East, guys.
Bye, guys.
Yalla, yalla.